All right, entrepreneurs, we need to talk, and we need to talk about your marketing because you need to understand this. It's critical for your success. It's critical for your business. And if you actually want to grow your business in a way that's controllable, you can budget for it, and it gives you the decision-making framework by which you can actually make decisions with confidence and invest in your business and your marketing and see it actually work. Now, in my last video, we talked about there's really only two types of marketing. There's awareness marketing, and then there's direct response marketing. And now underneath both of those, there's really only two constants in marketing, and this is the critical concept that you have to understand. Now, you know I love my metaphors, and so I want to use another metaphor here to help you understand this. So your business, it's like an engine, right? You're creating a product and service, and you're trying to get it out to the marketplace and have people buy it. It generates money, produces a profit in return, and you can reinvest that and make your business bigger, stronger, and make more products that help out everybody, right? Now, if you're like me, I love dirt bike racing, and I'm a two-stroke kind of guy. And if you know your two strokes, or if you don't know it, when you ride a two-stroke motorcycle, you have to pre-mix the oil into the gasoline before you put it in the engine. And the key to success here is having that right premix ratio of oil to gas. Now, a business is almost exactly the same in that the fuel for your business, you have the engine of growth. The fuel for your business is your resources, your very limited resources, your limited time, your limited money, and most of all, your limited opportunity. You really don't have unlimited amounts of any of those. And I don't care how big or small your business is. So here's the thing, when you're doing your business premix and you're putting all these ratios together, you have to have it right. And the idea is you don't want to waste any one of those resources. You don't want to spend too much time on anything. You don't want to spend too much money on anything. And you certainly don't want to waste and spend too much of your opportunity cost on any one marketing strategy. So if you're a business owner and you feel like your marketing isn't performing as it should, you're probably scratching your head as to how to diagnose what's working and what isn't. And if it is working to a degree, you also need to understand where and have the decision-making criteria on how to say what is working, what is that element or factor, and so that I can take it now and expand on it, double down on what's working and forget about what isn't. So enough with the explanations, let's get right to the two constants. So in all of marketing, I really want you to think about there's really only two things you need to think about. There's traffic, and then there are conversions. And that's about it. And so in your mind, I want you to kind of think about what you're doing for your marketing. Are you doing, SEO, social media, or blog posts? Maybe you're doing offline stuff like trade shows or buying, magazine ads or billboards, or it doesn't matter. The traffic side of the equation is, where your people are. That's your prospects. That's where you go to show your marketing message to the right person, hopefully. And if it resonates, they will elect to talk to you and hopefully entertain the idea of buying your products and services. The other side of this equation, that's traffic. The other side of the equation is conversions, or what I like to call conversion mechanisms. And this is where I see most business owners completely lose this idea or don't even know about it. So every business owner out there, they keep saying, I want awareness, I need people to know about my business, blah, 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 blah. But what happens is once you get traffic coming to your website or into your store or into your booth, whatever the case may be, do you have a mechanism that provides two functions? One, it attracts the right person, your ideal customer, so that they raise their hand and they say, hey, I want to talk to you and learn more about your products. And two, it actually repels the people that are not your ideal customer. And so these conversion mechanisms, there's a zillion different kinds of them. You can have everything from, what I see most business owners, their conversion mechanism is a join our newsletter or a contact us form on their website. Relatively unimpressive, very low performance, and unless you have really an outstanding, well-known newsletter, Why is somebody going to give you their email address and allow you to send them messages every day? Anyway, I digress. So these conversion mechanisms, they can be a webinar, can be as simple as a case study opt-in. It can be a bonus. It can be a sale even. You know, if you're running a limited Black Friday sale, that is a conversion mechanism. But it's basically just some sort of incentive that, again, both attracts your ideal customer and repels the person who is not your ideal customer. So those are really the only two constants or components to your marketing that you need to think about. And the thing is, most business owners, they're all just thinking about, and marketers too, by the way, it's not just business owners, but everyone's just worried about traffic. Oh, I want to go run ads and do this and go have a blog and SEO, and I want to get featured on this podcast and that and the other, and that's all about traffic. But I can't tell you how many business owners, once they go do that and they get the traffic I talk to, they have no conversion mechanism at all. Now let's talk about traffic for a second. Not all traffic is created equal. Let me give you an example. If you're, let's say, a B2B SaaS company, it probably makes sense for you to be in the tech world or whatever it is you're selling. But it probably doesn't make sense for you to be running, a billboard ad, or on the absurd side, flying a banner behind an airplane. Why would you do that? That's not where your people is. So what you have to think about is, what are your traffic sources that are going to generate your ideal traffic from your ideal customer? Now, the question is, where do you find that and how do you go find these traffic sources? That's a whole different video series. I'm not going to get into that right now. What I want to focus on are these conversion mechanisms. So let me give you a real world story. I talked to a business owner of a 30-year-old e-commerce company just this week, actually. And it's a company that's been around 30 years, but she shared with me that sales are declining and profitability is actually not. They're negative. And I'm going to keep them anonymous just for their own privacy, but they're worried. And they have a CMO. They have a chief marketing officer. And they keep hearing from their people internally that they need more awareness and more brand recognition, stuff like that. I hear this all the time from everyone I work with. Now, the thing is, their CMO said, okay, in order to achieve that goal of more awareness, we're going to go sponsor a podcast. And I don't know the name of the podcast. I don't know if it was the right person or the right listener group. I assume it was. But the thing is, they spent $20,000 on this sponsored podcast. And what they didn't have, that they realized too late, is any sort of conversion mechanism, so that when they were on the podcast, there was some incentive for the listener of the podcast to go and learn about their company and their products. And the sad fact is, they spent $20,000 on this podcast sponsorship and they actually only had 5 sales. And for an e-commerce company with an average cart value of only $40, well, that's darn near a complete loss. And that's the kind of crap I'm trying to stop here. So you can go get these great forms of traffic, lots and lots of impressions, which, by the way, impressions don't mean a heck of a lot if you don't have a conversion mechanism. But that's the point here, is why are you worried about traffic if you don't have a conversion mechanism? It's like putting the cart in front of the horse, literally. Like, it makes no sense. So what you need to think about is, what conversion mechanisms do you have in your company or in your marketing? What's working, what's not? Do you have benchmark numbers that tell you what's working and what's not? And the idea is basically, once you have this conversion mechanism that performs to spec or to its KPIs, now you can go out and start driving different sources of traffic to this mechanism. Let me give you another real world example. So I was working with a company that, again, established, 15, 20-year-old company, but their sales had stagnated, and they had generally only done or generated their traffic through doing public speaking, through going to trade shows, and the owner was a well-known speaker. But the problem was, they were doing all this social media and they were investing in SEO, but nothing was working. It wasn't generating any sales. And when we looked at it and when I talked to her, we realized there's no conversion mechanism here. There's no reason for anyone to raise their hand and say, hey, I want to talk to you about your products and services. Now, in this particular business, they had a real educational component. Their product wasn't for everyone. It was for a very specific person with a very specific problem that they solved for them. And so because of this educational component, we decided on a webinar funnel. Now, the webinar funnel was easy peasy for them, and the owner had done so much public speaking and knew what people wanted to hear. She could kick out this, webinar in, I think it took her like a week. And what the webinar did is it gave tremendous value up front, but what it also did is it allowed them to collect leads, right? So the people who registered for the webinar, those are the leads. And then of course the people in the webinar who showed up and attended, those are, you could call them marketing qualified leads. They're not super marketing qualified leads, but they are qualified. They showed up, they're interested in the topic. And the other benefit of having a webinar funnel like this was that it allowed them to demonstrate their knowledge, their expertise, and it allowed them to show that they could solve the problem for this person. And on this particular webinar, they sold a low ticket offer, I think it was like $250, that solved the first kind of hurdle that these people faced. And then of course, the bigger sale, the high ticket sale, was solving the whole problem for these people. And the reason we did this, it's kind of interesting because with the low ticket sales, we could actually, that offset the cost of running ads. So now they have this complete funnel with a functioning conversion mechanism that generates money. And we could take that money then and go find different traffic sources. And now they can start scaling. And as long as the numbers hold true and to KPI, they performed as they should, we could go drive traffic all day long. And that's exactly what happened. They now have this webinar that I think it has a 2-to-1 ROAS, and on the back end, I don't even want to guesstimate how profitable it is, but it gave them a conversion mechanism. And so this is the concept you need to understand, right? There's traffic, and yeah, I know it's all important and all that, but if you're the owner of a business and you don't feel you have the ability to kind of pull a lever and drive growth, drive sales, it's probably because you don't have a conversion mechanism. Yeah, so that's it. What is your conversion mechanism? I want you to think about your current marketing investments as they are now. What are you investing in? What are those different channels of traffic? And do you have a conversion mechanism? That's your first step in diagnosing how to get more profitable marketing. If you have both of those components in place, the next one is your conversion mechanism performing to spec, to KPI? Do you have those benchmark numbers? Do you know where this conversion mechanism is profitable or where you start to lose money on it? These are the key considerations you need to have as an executive and the owner, founder of a business. So let me ask you, are you making these mistakes right now? Do you have clearly identified sources of traffic? Do you have clearly identified conversion mechanisms? And do you know that they go together? Not all conversion mechanisms are going to work for all sources of traffic. So really wrapping this up, it's not a difficult concept to understand these two different elements. And I would encourage you, if you've listened this far, in the description as well as, on the main channel page, you can download my main guide. It's a Google Doc. It has all my files in it, this video, all the scripts, all the tools, spreadsheets, everything you need to make your marketing work. So I'd encourage you to go get that. But really, this is the second level. The first level is the 2 types of marketing. These are the 2 constants in your marketing, and we're going to work down from there. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. Was this video valuable for you? Did it give you any insights as to what may or may not be working with your marketing, and or holding your marketing team accountable if they're not presenting you information by which you can make informed and confident decisions on where to invest your marketing dollars? Then this is the place you start. You start at what kind of marketing are you doing, and then, or what type, and then what's your traffic source and what's your conversion mechanism. So again, I thank you for watching. Your time is the most valuable resource in the world. So the fact that you spent it with me, I really appreciate that. And I hope to produce a lot more content like this and help you really from an executive, C-level standpoint, figure out how to get your business to grow using marketing, which is really the only way you can do. So anyway, peace.